I listen to all kinds of music, but if you want to say who influences me, it's mostly like incredible songwriters and singers. I love vocalists who really, really can emote so well. That's what really draws me in.
What's up, everybody? We are here with Stephanie James. All right, she's a musician. She's great. We're here to talk to her about music in the quarantine. Music stuff. So what's going on? How are you dealing with the quarantine?
I've been all right. Hanging in there, just taking things a day at a time. Just trying to be kind to myself and be healthy and try not to sleep all day. And
yeah.
But how about?
I'm doing good. I woke up at 9 and I slept till like 11 and went back to sleep. So I've been doing good. I'm just a normal day in the life for me, still going to work every day, still taking online classes, so nothing's really stopped.
And you must be really busy. That must be a lot of stress.
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on still, but I'm still working through it.
John, I commend you for being on the front lines at the hospital.
Yeah.
You should be making more than people who are at home, because Massachusetts is very, very nice with their unemployment benefits. So I'm lucky in that, and my wife and I are getting some money back, and it's like, whoa, okay, we're getting enough right now where we were when we were working, and she's not working, and I only filed for unemployment, and I'm making enough for both of us, so it's pretty nuts.
Wow. Lucky.
Yeah. I heard there was going to be some kind of
exactly. It's lucky, and it's unfair to people who work in the hospitals and have to deal with this every day. Anybody in healthcare and the food industry, like, they deserve it,
Mm-hmm.
I heard there's going to be some kind of hazard pay, but as far as right now, I heard it's just a rumor. I don't know if it's going to be a thing, or I know right now, like in the hospital I'm working at, they have this thing called Code Green, whereas like if things get bad enough, people from other departments are going to start working in the units. And so we're like in that right now. So like last time I looked at the numbers, there was like close to 100 people with COVID at the hospital. And like every time someone goes home too, like the Rocky theme song plays, and you hear it more often than not. So that's a good sign that like a lot of people are recovering, going home. So
wait, so the hospital plays that song?
Yeah, like over the loudspeaker, you hear like dun, 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 dun,
what? It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if it's like as they're walking out or like as they're like getting ready to leave, but like they play it like a few times.
Well, like the da da da.
Oh yeah.
That song.
Yeah.
That's funny. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they play that.
People are really like giving it their all. These nurses, I've read the stories online, and everything, and people are stepping up, and it's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I read something pretty scary though, that maybe we should address too. I don't know if anyone has heard this, but I usually go on like CNN or whatever I can find for news, Yahoo, whatever. And it was like, I think it was in South Korea. It was like some patients who had COVID-19 and had recovered from it are now testing positive again for it.
Really?
So they're not sure if this is something that your body continually gets, which is kind of scary, or if they just test positive because they had it before. I don't know, but that's a little bit nerve-wracking. Hopefully they can figure that out.
Well, like people in our age demographic, like if we got it, we'd probably be okay. But it's like the elderly
there's a small percentage of people our age who have passed away from it, which is scary. But I guess and the other thing was like, if you do have it, don't take certain Tylenols or whatever. And that they found a big percentage of people who passed away from it had like not acetaminophen. I think it was like ibuprofen in them.
Sure.
So they like stay away from that for some reason, and it's kind of crazy.
That's weird.
But anyways, on a positive note.
Yeah, on a lighter note.
So Stephanie, you travel between like LA and Boston a lot?
I do. So I live in LA currently. I moved there about a year ago. But I've lived in Boston my whole life, and I do go back pretty frequently. Right now, I'm actually back in Massachusetts. When this started to happen, I had a feeling that this was not going to be a temporary thing. I had a feeling it wasn't going to be, so I came home to be with my parents. And I'm here, and I have my recording set up and my piano and a guitar, so I'm okay to still work. But yeah, it was a quick decision to come home, and I'm glad I did, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good decision. So when did you first get into music? It was just a spontaneous thing when you were young, or?
I was always singing around the house when I was a baby, like as a little kid, and I guess I had always sung in school. And then it's funny, in my city we had a singing competition when I was in the 5th grade that I did, and it was my first time singing in front of people, in front of an actual audience. And from that point on, I was like, this is pretty awesome. And then from then on is when I started performing publicly. And when I got to college is when I started writing my own music. I had always written poetry and lyrics, but then was finally able to write the music part of it. And so now I'm a full singer and songwriter.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I heard your EP, and I heard it like 20 times last night because I am a little bit obsessed with the song "You Fill Me Up."
Oh my gosh.
I was just like, something about it is just so uplifting. It's so fun to like dance to sing to. I heard it a few times, and then I put my phone away, and I was like, all right, let me digest this song because I liked it so much. And I was just humming it so long. And
really catchy.
my wife had my wife's Greek, and she had they obviously Greek Easter didn't happen yesterday, so her family, all her family members, they all Zoomed on here, and I was there too, and I was looking at them, and I was humming the song while looking at them. I was like, "You fill me up." I was singing it, and I was like, "Okay, I gotta go. I gotta listen to the song again." So I'm not just saying that because you're here, but it's such an incredible song. It's so catchy. I love the chord progression. This is some songs that just, I don't know, they translate. The verses are great, and then you can tell the chorus is going to be big. And that was that song. I was like, here comes the chorus. I know it's going to be good, and it just delivered. So
definitely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, the EP as a whole is great, but that song specifically, I just was like, I couldn't even get past to the 4th song because the 3rd one was "You Fill Me Up," and I was like, I can't get past this one right now. But so I'm assuming you wrote everything?
Yeah, so it's funny, that EP is what I worked on when I was at Berkeley, and I was just learning about how to sing in a studio. I was just learning how to work with a band and do all these things. So my goal was play with as many people as you can and learn as much as you can from people, producers, engineers, guitar players, whatever. So that EP actually involved 40 people, like 37 people. So at school, everyone had different, like, if you were a production major, you had to produce a song. Like, it was kind of a super, super collaborative thing where there were different producers on different songs, all kinds of things. And I wasn't necessarily going to release it. It was just to record my songs. And then I made an EP out of it. So that's like my baby. That's like the very
yeah. It was very, very, very polished. The production was great.
It had a lot of good emotionality. Like, it was a very
album
or EP.
Definitely. I thought I read on Spotify that you had recorded it. You had mentioned like some award-winning producers, or I think I read something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. My friend JT, he produces the artist Black. It's spelled like 6 Lack, and a bunch of other people. And my friend Simone Torres, she is a vocal producer and works with Kukarel, who produces Jessie J and Rihanna and a lot of big artists. So I still had a couple years left at Berkeley, and they moved to LA and Atlanta, and we're already out in the field working and hustling and grinding. And so it's been amazing to see. It's been really amazing to see where people have gone after school really grown. It's been really cool to see. I'm like a proud mom. It's like I had nothing to do with their success. I'm just like clapping from the sidelines. I'm like, yes, they're so hardworking. They're amazingly kind people. Like they deserve it so much.
Yeah. So you teach vocals as well. I know John had some time with you as well. He had mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing Zoom lessons now, but I was teaching at a school in California and also teaching like from my home and going to other people's houses. I love to teach vocals, but I also teach a bit of piano.
Great.
But I do miss the in-person lessons. Jonathan and I had a lot of fun. I feel like John progress over like a very short amount of time, I would say.
Stop it. No, that was really good. I definitely learned a lot. I needed a lot of like technique, and you definitely taught me. You were able to like teach me that technique like thoroughly, and like I didn't feel like I had a lot of pressure. Like I had other vocal teachers who would like get frustrated with me if I'm not like getting it right away. But you were really patient and kind, and like I think that's like the most important thing when you teach people, because sometimes if people get mad at themselves if you can't get it, So I think that was, you did a really good job, like being able to like teach the information really good. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun. I love teaching vocals because I can hear people's growth and progress like so quickly, and I think like the voice is such an amazing instrument, and like it's hard to teach because you want to make the voice just free the voice, just let it happen. And when you tell people like, oh, you need to breathe like this and you need to have good posture and you need to focus on this vowel, and it's like it's a mental game more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
So,
that's cool.
I love it.
Well, that's good.
That's cool that you're a piano teacher as well. My mother's a piano teacher, so I grew up in that. Her playing piano. My father was a bass player in a bunch of bands, so I was born into it. So I understand it,
That's great.
But yeah, so you have any plans on making a full-length album or anything?
Yeah, this past year I worked with this amazing producer, Jarrell Corpus, on my album, and we were supposed to release it last month, but there were just so many delays, and then I felt like people weren't going to care about an album with everything going on in the world. And I know that we need music during these difficult times. So I'm actually releasing my first single off the album next month, May 8th. But for now, the album's put on hold, but we will see definitely this year. Yeah, it's so hard when you spend so much time on something and then it's just, one thing after another, but it's for the best. So
what was the recording process like? Like how long did it take?
I met Jarrell last, maybe let's say March or April. And I said, let's just work on one song, see how it goes, see, what our vibe is like. And after a couple weeks, I turned to him and I'm like, I think we should do a whole album. I really like working with you. And he felt the same way. And so I had mostly voice, like really rough demos of vocal, piano, or vocal and guitar. And then we recorded the demos and built around the tracks. And then after I hired a drummer and a bass player because I really wanted to have that real instrument feel in the tracks. And obviously we have a lot of live guitars and all kinds of vocals and stuff. So that was really exciting. And my friend Simone, who I worked with at Berkeley, she did the vocal production on the album. So that was really a fun moment, like full circle moment to work with her again.
Yeah, I noticed on the EP it had that very like it just sounded like a live band. Like you could just go out and like hear it, and like that's what it would sound like.
Yeah, definitely. I felt the same way.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I honestly I love all the cool pop music that we have now, but I personally need those real instruments. That's when I really feel like alive inside when I hear music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the first in line for this album. I'm super excited for it. I'll be the first one to purchase it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned about the albums and how a lot of artists feel like EPs are the way to go nowadays. And I feel like back in like the 60s and 70s, I feel like that was a little bit more unheard of, is just putting out an EP. It was all about records and albums and stuff. But nowadays it feels like people's attention spans are a little bit, I don't know, they can't. Yeah, I mean, we feel differently about it. Usually, like, if we're gonna do an album, we'll do 7 or 8 songs. We feel like that's digestible. But yeah, I mean, I've always been an album guy. Like, I could listen to full albums all day long. But something about people, like, they just want to hear 3 or 4 songs and like, okay, I get the gist of this artist, but I wish they'd be more into music and like listen to the full album as the way it was supposed to be, the full art form, the way the artist meant it to be.
Yeah,
so,
like looking at the whole picture,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it comes from a marketing standpoint too. I mean, if you release singles, it's easier, to get playlisted on a Spotify and those type of things. But, I chose to do this collection of songs because they're very, very specific time in my life of my very ending of college, and then songs before moving to California. And there was a whole year and a half when I had written a lot of music then. And these songs all go together. To me, they make sense, and it's like about a chapter. So like the next, whatever it will be like the next chapter. It's kind of like a time capsule, I feel.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to explain it. Like being a chapter. We had like 3 records with a previous drummer, and then when he left, we got a new drummer, and now we have this like all this music ready to be recorded, and it's like a different chapter of the band, and it like can sound different. We write a little different, so it's like we want to show people this new chapter, and it's like it's hard to do it now with everything going on, but we're making do. We're just trying to send files and go back and forth,
Right.
Yeah, how is that working for you guys? I mean, for me, I just write a song and I do some co-writes online with 1 or 2 other people, but for you, it's not like you can have a band practice on Zoom. So
yeah,
right. We tried that too. We already have the songs written already before this all happened, and we recorded all the drum tracks with the new drummer. And then now John, our bass player Steve, and our drummer Akiba, they all have the same software. So John's been passing all the tracks along to each one of them so they can add their part. I don't have the software, unfortunately, so I have to sing later when everything's done. So hopefully at some point we can get that done. But so I do have a question for you. Who would you say are your biggest influences in music?
Okay. I always say this first, but Sarah Bareilles, as a songwriter and artist, and she's so funny. I've seen her so many times live. I love a lot of old jazz singers. Love Linda Ronstadt, Joss Stone, Jessie J, Emily Sunday, Amy Winehouse. The list goes on. I honestly would say I listen to all kinds of music, but if you want to say who influences me, it's mostly like incredible songwriters and singers. I love vocalists who really, really can emote so well. That's what really draws me in.
If you could open for one artist, living or passed away, who would you think it would be?
I would probably be Sarah Bareilles. I think for sure. Yeah, I wish I could meet Amy Winehouse, or maybe Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera was a big influence when I was a kid. I remember like singing in my karaoke machine and like trying to sing like as high as her and do her runs, and just feeling defeated, but knowing one day like maybe I could sing that.
Did you have any shows that were like booked during this time that were canceled because of the pandemic?
I'm really lucky because I was about to start planning some tours. I was going to do a tour along the West Coast to go up to Seattle and everything, in San Francisco. And then I was going to come back here and do an album release show in Boston and go to New York and tour this area. So luckily I didn't have anything like too groundbreaking. I had a few gigs in LA booked, but it's not like heart-wrenching. It's just whatever. So
Right. Yeah, same for us. They were just kind of small, fun ones that just got canceled, but you can always rebook those, I guess. So
yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be a wait list. It's like people whose shows are canceled, like do they have first dibs? Like I don't
right.
That's a good point. I just heard
that
there's going to be like multiple phases of like, allowing people to go out. Like phase 1 is like, some restaurants open up, And then phase 2 is like, some more places open up. You don't have to be 6 feet apart. And then phase 3, I feel like, is the last of everyone to come in. So like having all the live music will probably be like that last phase, and all the concerts and sports and stuff like that. So I feel like we might have to wait a little while, but like that wait is going to make it like, it's going to make everything boom, because people are going to be like, I'm out, I'm free. Let's fucking go crazy, So I think that's going to be a good and a bad thing at the same time.
It's kind of strange too, because I think they would talk, the 3-phase system works for each state is what they're doing.
Yeah.
But if I just say a phase is on phase 3, and then some people from another state come into that state with the virus and then causes a flare up again, do they go back to phase 1, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how it's scary, because you can be a carrier of this and not even know it. So you're going out with a bunch of people and it's like,
Even if in small venues, you're close to people, and I think about this too, about restaurants and music venues and whatever the case is these businesses don't thrive from having 5 people in the restaurant or the music venue. They need to pack it. That's how they make the money. If not, they're losing profit. And I just that music venues don't close. I mean, Boston's been kind of in rough shape, despite all the building that they're doing of apartments and things in Cambridge and the tech. I don't understand why a lot of venues are closing. I mean, look at the Middle East. It's kind of crazy. So many young people moving into the city. I see, this is my opinion, but I see as Boston being like a little mini New York City. It's, just as expensive, and people need live music. All kinds of live music, not just cover bands, and it's just very interesting. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like Boston's like just so scattered as far as like there's no real scene in Boston right now. I know people have told me that like a couple decades ago it was pretty big in Boston, but right now you're right. There's like a lot of things closing. There's not a lot of scenes that are. And I think the big part of what we're trying to do here, especially during the pandemic, is like this podcast or whatever this is, this chat is all about like trying to bring musicians together and like discuss the shape of the industry, the shape of where we're at. And most of the musicians we have are in the Boston area, but it's like, let's get together, let's form a scene with a bunch of us bands and like see if we can make a difference and start something. So it just feels empty.
So many professional musicians are just out of work. So like having a podcast to do, or like, Zoom chat lessons, like now's the time to like be creative and like hone in your skills. So like trying to like get some positivity out of the negative situation the best we can.
Definitely. Definitely. I'm sure people will be writing some really amazing music during this time.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Like you can just see how it's changing the culture. Like yesterday I saw a video of someone took one of Snoop Dogg's old songs and made it into like a quarantine song, and people are taking like pop songs and making it into a quarantine song and writing their own songs. My friend Rob and I just wrote a quarantine song, and like we're working on that, and it's like it's changing the culture, changing history, and it's kind of interesting, to be honest, to like see that happening like just in front of your eyes.
I don't know if this is going to be the way it is. You know what I mean? I mean, it's people going to wear masks going forward, like for a while. This could happen for a long, long time. It's like, like you said, even though we're young, it doesn't mean that it can't affect us. And I don't know. I haven't been outside in a week and a half, 2 weeks actually. I haven't been outside in 2 weeks. I went out into my porch and for like a minute, and I was like, I don't like it out here. It was like things move fast.
Like I can't handle it.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, things are too fast out here. It was like somebody who's been in prison for like 60 years. And he's like, I want to go back to prison. That's like that weird mental state of like, I felt safe. It's like, I don't do anything. I sit on my couch and then I watch TV and then we go on the Zoom. And it's like, I need to do something or else I'm going to break down mentally and physically.
Yeah, I've had to go for walks every day. I was walking. It's funny. I was kind of like was a little paranoid because in February I stopped going to the gym. I was like, this is not going to be good. And I feel like you can get sick really easily at the gym with people sweating and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Going for walks all the time. And now it's become this thing where it's like, if I don't go for a walk, I have to go for almost 2 walks a day now to like keep myself sane.
Yeah.
but it helps so much. I mean, and it's what the weird thing is I live in the suburbs, and so I'll be walking, and then someone will be like coming the same way, and it's like one of us crosses the other side of the street entirely, and
Yeah.
this thing, and you still are just like, hey, how's it going? And it's like it's going.
Yeah. That happened. I went for a walk yesterday, and that happened to me. I was like walking, and then like there was this lady and her mother walking, and then they just like walked to the other side of the street from me, like I was like looked like some kind of criminal. And I'm like, oh, I'm not. It's just what's going on.
Pet people's dogs either. You have to like do your own thing. It's very weird.
I ordered food for lunch, and we put a sign up on the door. It said like, just leave the food like near the door. And I could see the car pulling up, and I think they made eye contact with me when they walked by my window. I was literally just like,
oh my
I was like, I just nodded at them, and they left it. I just felt so weird, like, what the heck? They were just like, okay, weirdo. I'm like, you know what? I'm just being safe. And they weren't wearing gloves or a mask. I was like, don't touch my food.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I haven't ordered any food out. I told my parents, I was like, I'm not taking any chances. Like, I would do anything for Richardson's ice cream right now, or Tread. That's like a soft serve. That's what I've been craving, or a pizza from like Giovanni's down the street.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Or what's that other ice cream place? It's on like the Salem Peabody border. Dairy Witch. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I just want a soft twist with some chocolate jimmies. Like,
seriously, just something. You can't even go
every night. Yeah, every night at like 9:30, 10 o'clock p.m. No matter what, I just crave pizza, and I'm like, you can do this. Just drink water and go to bed.
You can't even go out, and like last time I went, like I tried to go food shopping. I had like I was trying to like walk through the automatic doors, and I almost smacked into it because it didn't open. And then there was like people like 6 feet apart in line, and they're like, yeah, you can't come in, sorry. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess we'll just starve. Like, goodbye. It's so crazy, like how the restrictions now are ridiculous. I feel like now's a good time for me to learn piano. All I know is like major and minor chords. I think I know like maybe 2 scales, but I don't know enough to like sit down and play. You know what I mean? I gotta like you said, I gotta shed. I gotta get on that.
Right, and work on like marketing and business, and study up TikTok and Instagram and how to really do those things. I think that's really important, and engaging with fans and that of course. It's weird because right now I like don't really want to be on my phone. I kind of don't. I don't have anything to answer to really. And I'm not waiting for any calls, so I haven't really been on my phone where I was on my phone all the time before this. And I wonder if people are on their phones more or less.
I have a question for you, and I don't think I've ever asked anyone this question before. It just came to my mind. When you write a song, do you have a specific person that you send it to and say, hey, what do you think of this? Or do you just say, you know what, I'm happy with it. This is what I'm going to do. It's going to be a song.
It depends. Some songs I know like they're garbage and they're never going to see the light of day, but it's like, okay, good, I wrote this song, we're going to move on. But the ones that I do like, I revisit them to edit them, and I have a few friends that I'll send them to, and they will be like, hey, this doesn't make sense, or what if you change the melody here? So there are people that I do like to share things with, and friends who will send me stuff to edit as well. So it's really, really helpful to have that for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I send my stuff to my dad all the time, and he just he'll give me these notes all the time, like, oh, you sound too English, like you're too British in this song or whatever, and I'm like, I didn't mean to be, and we have that discussion, which is funny. But or if my wife's sitting there and I'll write a song and I think it's really good, and I kind of look over and I'm like, did you hear that? And she's like, yeah, it was good. And I'm like, that's it? It was just good? So I have those problems too. Like, oh, like I thought that was really good. And she's like, yeah, keep working on it. I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
You're like, I know I need to keep working on it. Don't remind me.
Right. It's just like, or I'll send a song I have like weird days where I'll write like 4 songs or 4 ideas. I'll send it to the group, the band. and see what they think. And if any of them wins, then we'll maybe try it at some point. But for the most part, I think the four of us, we like writing together more than we do individually. Things flow better when we're just the four of us are together and we're like, oh, let's just work on that riff, rather than me bringing in a song and be like, hey guys, this song's already written, so just follow me. It's not as fun.
Yeah.
You're playing the piano part wrong. It goes like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my other favorite things to do is when I have a song that's pretty great demo, that's like pretty close to what the songs actually sound like, I'll send it to my mom and also a few of my friends of mine who like a lot of pop music and aren't musicians, because they have the best opinion. You know, they're not bopping their head, or they're not, you know, you can just tell by watching their body language and like if this is a good song or not, even if they're your friend, you know. But hopefully you have friends who can tell you like, oh, I don't really like this part, you know. Musicians, they're the ones who really need to like enjoy the music the most, I think.
Yeah, it's weird because I had this discussion with my father, because my father was a musician, but he's also a painter, and he'll always show me paintings, and he's like, I put this painting up on Facebook and I don't get as many likes as when I do this type of painting. Why is that? Like, why do people like this and not this? And I'm like, Dad, art is so subjective, I can't even go there. It's just people like what they like. But when it comes to music, like sometimes I wonder, like, obviously everybody's writing for themselves. Everybody, you know, when you write a song and it makes you feel good, then you've accomplished something. It's, you know, it's really, really good. But sometimes I wonder if I'm writing songs for musicians, or if I'm writing songs for people who don't even understand music, who are the consumers of music. And I have this weird story, because when I was born, like I said, my parents are musicians, and I've always been into music. I understand music. I understand structure, verses, chorus, bridge, chord changes, chord progressions. So when I met somebody who had no idea what I was talking about, it was strange to me. I was working at a hospital. I was in food service, and I played one of my songs to a few people. And this one girl, it was during the guitar solo part. I had someone do a guitar solo, and she's like, "You're not singing anymore. What happened?" And I was like, "Oh, this is the guitar solo section." And she's like, "Yeah, but you're not singing. What happened?" And I almost lost my mind. I was like, "What is this? Is this real life?" And I had to realize that there are people who just, music isn't their thing, and they just don't understand the way music works. When you listen to a song on the radio, sometimes it's just to them it's just all conjumbled noises that just make a song, but they don't understand that there's pieces that go together, and there's this and there's that. So it blew my mind into a million pieces.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if you guys are fans of John Mayer. Are you?
Oh yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
So I actually recently watched one of his videos of him when he came to Berkeley in like 2008, and he talks about creating songs for musicians and creating music that people will like. And he says the public is smarter than you, and they know what's a good song. You know, you're not the one to necessarily determine it. He said something along those lines. And for me, I think like, yeah, I want to write music people will like, but I'm also going to write songs that I have to fix for people to maybe like, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's not like selling out. It's just like your chorus needs to have a better hook, or like those chords are too crazy. No one cares about those jazz chords, you know. Really.
Yeah, right. That's a really good point. You know, it's funny you bring up John Mayer. I can pick out two songs right away that one song is for consumers and one song is for musicians. And this is just my opinion, but like Your Body's a Wonderland. Like that for me is like, okay, that's a consumer song. That's going to sell. It's catchy. It's for people. Blah, blah. The song he put out a couple years ago, Moving On and Getting Over, that for me, the guitar he's playing, it sounds like it's this big. It's so tight. It's so good. It's for musicians. My bass player, he's a music guy. He was just like, oh my God, that song. It just gets me. And I'm like, it's for us, man.
That's so I can only listen to so much John Mayer. I go through phases where, like, you know, last week I could only listen to like 3 songs, or else I would have started crying. You know, it's like gotta wait enough before I can play Continuum again. Like,
right. Yeah. Oh, Continuum. Yeah, I get you. Yep.
I hear
absolutely.
I like it. It's like, okay, the tears, they're starting.
Yeah.
That like that song Gravity, it's so
Oh.
slow moving, but it's so soulful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he takes so much time before words that you're like hanging on it. I don't know. It's and then the guitar solo is like, oh man.
His phrasing of melodies on the guitar and vocal. There's this other guy, I think his name's David Ryan Harris. He toured with Pearl Jam, and he was in, I want to say, New Orleans or something. But that him and John Mayer played a lot together, and he's an incredible guitar player, like bluesy and cool songwriter. David Ryan Harris, I think.
Nice. I'll write that down because I like discovering new things. That's what I do, especially now that I'm home. I just want to keep discovering new music.
Yeah. How do you discover new music? Do you put on Spotify? Does it mostly come from friends' recommendations? What is your music discovery look like?
I think Spotify is one of the biggest things for me. Going to that homepage and seeing what new releases there are, or when you're listening to an artist and it says, "Oh, listen to these similar artists," I'm like, "Oh, snap! Who are these people now?" And I have a weird addiction with, like I said, albums and discographies. If I like an artist, I'll start from the beginning, the first album, and I'll go through absolutely everything they have, and then I'll make a playlist of all the songs I like or the albums that I like, and I have spreadsheets upon spreadsheets upon spreadsheets of just music that I've rated. When I was younger, I wanted to write for Rolling Stone until I realized that they're not really a good magazine. But you know, I wanted to just, I wanted to be that journalist who like talked about albums and then ranked them. And then I realized I didn't really have a lot to talk about. I'd be like, yeah, I like that song. It was catchy. I'm like, yeah, I can't be a journalist.
I think you're very articulate in what you say. I think you could definitely like do that for sure. I mean, you are doing it now on the podcast, but if you want to pursue it more, you totally can do that.
Sure, I can see that.
The spreadsheet thing. My other question is like, do you go on SoundCloud? Do you look at any blogs, or is it mostly a Spotify? Or like, do you use Instagram? Like, if someone gets an ad, do you ever really engage with that person? I'm just curious I don't know, I'm just curious.
Sometimes I do. Like, if it just like really catches my eye and the video is like really like I don't know, if it catches my eye immediately, then I'll tend to click on it more. But if it's just like, I don't know, I guess I'm really picky when it comes to like picking music, because I don't want to just like listen to anything. I guess I'm like, I don't know, I have like that music ear, like, oh, it's not like this, like I'm kind of pretentious about it sometimes. But the way I find music is a lot of people send me stuff.
Okay.
They send me stuff, or I don't really like go fishing as much as people show me new things.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I'm on the other end. Yeah, I'm the other end. I'm the fisher. I'm the fisher. I like fishing for music and new sounds, new ideas, new bands, old bands. When I was a kid, 60s and 70s. That was my scene. My listening to early bands when I was a kid just made me feel like, okay, this is for me. I think the first experience I ever had was pulling out the White Album on cassette tape out of my dad's drawer, and like while he was painting on a Sunday morning, he was painting in the kitchen, and I pulled out the White Album and I put it in the player, and I was just taken away by music, and I didn't understand it, I didn't know it, I just knew that I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, amazing. It's amazing. Well, I have a question for you guys. I don't know if this is like important, but is there any music that you find yourself listening to now with the current state that you maybe didn't listen to before? Or do you have like a go-to album that or a song or something that you listen to when you're going through difficult times? Like, is there a go-to that's so comforting?
I notice I listen to more uplifting music when I'm like in a tougher situation. I'm listening to this Logic album. What's it called? I can't even think of it right now, but it's by Logic, and it's like all of his songs are like really uplifting and like coming out the gate hot and like being an underdog and coming up. And I really like his beats, and like not just the beats themselves, but like the tone of like the bass, and like I guess I just gravitate more towards like uplifting things when I'm in a tougher situation, I guess.
Yeah, I'm into right now. If I just feel like I need something, I listen to Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. I'm into like standards. They make me happy. They make me feel good. I come from an Italian background, so sometimes if I miss Italian food, I'll put them on too.
You know, it really depends. I find myself listening to a lot of like hip hop and kind of like rap music. And just dancing to it because I feel like that's how I've been listening to music. But Emily King, her album 7, whenever I'm I'm very stressed out or something, it always kind of calms me down. I always listen to it on the plane as well for some reason.
All right. Yeah, no problem. We can end it here. Stephanie, it was so nice meeting you. I love talking to you. I love your EP. I can't wait to buy your album. Thanks so much for doing this with us.
Thank you so much. Stay well, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Michelle, you too.
Awesome. Sounds great.
All right.
Bye, Steph.